I would never imagine saying, I control my creative. Because if you control your own creative, then that's a problem.
Yeah.
Because the promos are horrible. And when you say the same thing over and over and over again, eventually the crowd's going to do what they just did recently, which was what? Shut the F up.
Hello, everybody, and tantalizing Tony, our videographer.
He can do it all. He can really do it all.
He can. And when we talk about somebody who can do it all, that's the coach. Welcome to the Apter chat.
Oh, yeah, I've been waiting for years to appear, and who would have known that today would be that day?
At 90s Wrestling Con.
And who knew that I would be here doing wrestling again?
Yes, well, I'm glad you are. Now, tell people who don't know what you're... Well, before we do that, I have a question to ask you.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you something, and I want to see your reaction.
Okay.
And...
Are you...
Oh. When you see this man, before you think too much, your reaction, because whoever thought he would not be in WWE?
I don't really have any thoughts about him in 2024, to be honest with you. I don't like to comment on him because at one point I was around him a lot, and I took a lot from what he taught us.
But what did you take? The positive stuff.
Well, the positive stuff is learning how when the red light comes on, timing, emphasis, storytelling, all the stuff that kind of makes high-level pro wrestling what it is, and also the grind. You know, we were forced into the grind, and in my first 10-year run, I only missed one Monday night, and I look back on it now, and there's a lot of regrets I have as far as things I missed because we couldn't stand up for ourselves.
Can you name one regret?
Oh, yeah, I was at Christmas Eve, and I was back home in Kansas, and you get a call to come back and shoot something in Connecticut because he wanted to go to Florida to be with his family and really didn't care about my family. So I did it because I never told him – I only told him no once, and I got beat up for that, so it is what it is.
Right. Tell everybody what you're doing currently.
Oh, we're doing so many different things. I've been doing golf for several years, PGA Tour, and I do a lot of sports betting. I do PFL, which is on ESPN. So I have 3 projects on ESPN right now.
That's great.
But we just got back into the wrestling business. And it's really crazy how it happened, but we have this new show called Behind the Turnbuckle. The brand is absolutely exploding. Me and my man, Big Tommy C. And we love Sportskeeda. They're great for us. But really, we started it because we felt like there was a gap between fans doing podcasts and wrestling, like really credible people like yourself doing wrestling content. And it's getting so big now, again, that we really felt like there was an avenue for us. And it's really been awesome to see the reaction to what we're doing.
So, I mentioned to you before we went on the air that you've been very critical about some of the people in AEW recently, especially Sasha Banks, Mercedes Mone. Explain to the people what you see while you say that.
Well, it's not even so much her specifically that when you're trying to, what we call in the wrestling business, get over.
Right.
And you come in, I love trying to be an arrogant heel. I love trying to get that character over. But when to me right now, Tony Khan is a person who is kind of comes off as a fan. And when
which he is, by the way.
100%. But you can't have. I can't even imagine a scenario. Even though Vince was very hands-on and all, I can't imagine a scenario where a superstar would walk into the building and say, "I'm the biggest free agent signing of all time," because that's what Tony said. I would never imagine saying, "I control my creative," because if you control your own creative, then that's a problem. Because the promos are horrible. And when you say the same thing over and over and over again, eventually the crowd's going to do what they just did recently, which was what? Shut the F up. And to me, you've got to have, and that's why The Rock was so great back in the day. He had an incredible writer. He stuck with that writer, Brian Growitz, and I was with him for 2 or 3 years at the beginning of my career, which was enormously valuable for me because when you have a really good writer, man, you can make magic.
Oh, sure.
You can make magic.
It's got to be that perfect marriage between the writer and the talent.
They need a lot of help there. I know they signed a big writer. I can't remember her name. She got some credit yesterday, and I've met her a few times when she was in WWE. But they need to work on her character and stop complaining about what you didn't get in the WWE. And really, when you're at home, break it down and make it simple. Well, to this day, I still practice in the mirror.
Check out BrainBuster, the daily quiz that tests your WWE knowledge with winning streaks, stats, and more. It's time to see if you're up for the challenge.
Is Dr. Britt Baker the person to bring her into...
Britt's amazing. I mean,
is she the right one to bring her into
it is,
what you're looking for?
You can't fake charisma. You can't fake being able to be great on the mic. Right. And I've been saying this for years. If you can't talk, you cannot get over to the top of the mountain.
That's why wrestlers used to have managers.
100%.
They couldn't talk.
Yeah, and I've had a lot of people recently say that there's a lot of factions within the WWE that if I ever came back, I would be good to help, because not everybody is built. You know, when I was at ESPN doing SportsCenter, we had a lot of people come in and try out, but not everybody is at that level. Sure. And Bill, there's levels to this game.
So what is the positive that you see in AEW and WWE?
Well, I still have a lot of friends in AEW that I really, really have a lot of affection for. And I love the fact that they continue to try. I've been very open about how big of a fan I am about MJF. I think when you look at MJF, you see a guy that's buys into the character. But the thing I think that's lost a little bit, and I was criticized recently for it, is kind of the illusion, separating a wall. And what I mean by that is the Wyatt Sicks. They have this incredible rollout, probably tens of thousands of dollars spent in that incredible backstage, right?
Yes.
And then what do that particular night? They go out to a Whataburger, and they take a picture with somebody who had like 68 followers on Instagram, and they take that whole illusion away that I just had an hour before. And to me, you've got to protect your gimmick, as we used to say, at all costs. And when you have a once-in-a-lifetime gimmick, like what the Wyatt Sicks is doing...
Well, you see, my feeling on that, and I've made this public on the Apter chat, is that if they did this once a year as a tribute to Bray Wyatt, that's great. But they're pushing pro wrestling now, not sports entertainment. So once a year, the Wyatts would be great. Other than that, they're taking what they're pushing, sports entertainment. They're not pushing that anymore, but this brings sports entertainment into it.
Well, 100%.
I'd rather see it cinematic.
What they need to do, and I've been very clear, that 98% of the superstars ride together if you want. Back when I was working full time, if you had two guys that were partners, and then they start feuding, and they were traveling together 4 days a week, you would not see them in the same car.
Right.
You never saw The Undertaker take a picture out of character.
I know where you're going with this.
So to me, yes, I like the cinematic. I like the storytelling. I like being able to take my mind somewhere that it can't go. That's my only issue. But AEW, they're trying.
Yep.
And as long as they're trying, competition's good, and they're paying top dollar for a lot of people. So if you can make money, God bless them.
Place to go. Where can people find you on social media?
At The Coach Rules, Instagram and Twitter, and Behind the Turnbuckle. We're everywhere, YouTube, and you'll see us.
Right.
But
all right, Bill Apter with the Coach. We'll see you. You know my finish here. You got to point out to the camera. We'll see you at the matches.
My man.